I've tried to use it, but even me, I can't understand how it can't.
I talk like Bimbo and I have a weekly, like twice a week. We have a bi-weekly call, right? When he's going into work, and that entire time. Now, the first time this thing happened there, when people were talking about his Tesla, and he said, "Look, Lami, this guy's going to park itself." It was. I remember that day.
Yeah.
It was your garage in New Jersey. Lami, this guy's going to park itself, and he demonstrated it. Then the following day, he was going to work, and I said, "Show me." So he turns the video on, and Bimbo's hands are folded. All right.
My hands are upstairs.
Sorry. Anyway, what I call is Bimbo.
Viewers, his hands were on the steering.
Yes.
You want to see that closely? His hands
were on the steering wheel.
Allow me, take it away.
Yeah. Okay, and then he goes, this car. Anyway, Bimbo's like, the car will change lanes. I'm at an intersection now. The car will navigate its way through it. Mm-hmm. And then I've seen Bimbo say things like, why is the car taking this particular route? Or I've seen Bimbo say, when we get to this particular point, I will take over because it's a busy intersection and the car gets confused.
To your point, I don't want to.
And then, but over time, this same car, we're now at this same intersection, and Bimbo doesn't do that thing anymore. Where he now doesn't need to do it as often anymore. It seems that the car has now learned.
Very, very good point there. So the first version that I started with 6-7 years ago, it's like I've watched a baby grow. I've gone from literally going off ramp and the car wanting to just jump off the ramp and me dragging it back to not recognizing it's supposed to know a green light, and I see a red light and the green light is up for the other side and it still sees that green and wants to run the red light, to actually now knowing I've seen the improvement. Is it going to be full self-driving? We don't have that compute power yet. It's not, there are too many edge cases, but there's a big difference between then and now.
Oh yeah. Are the Waymo cabs not self-driving?
They are. But they use a different technology. They use LiDAR. So, yeah.
But your car has LiDAR, doesn't it? Your car has LiDAR.
No.
Your car has LiDAR.
I have LiDAR. Radar and vision. So it's just like, so that's another, it's like the Betamax VHS thing. He doesn't believe in LiDAR. LiDAR doesn't do well in snow with depth. Vision. So, and LiDAR is, the technology is still, it's not new, but it's still bulky. They've not been able to get it. So you see all those things, they have all this big LiDAR stuff. I'm not sure he's winning. So with the Waymo things, they're geofenced. They map out a whole area and they do well within that area. For Tesla, we are the guinea pigs. Yeah, you just stick it on the road and just use Google Maps. I think, it's Google Maps in the background or Apple Maps. I can't remember which. And
so that's
So go ahead. I was saying initially, so before, once it does any of this nonsense, I'll just click report.
Right.
It will upload the video, and then they'll use it for training data, and it will fix it. Yeah, you're going to say something.
I just want to say that I wanted to hear from Laomi. Laomi, what are your thoughts so far on the conversation?
I was going to say what Ade said about McDonald's and KFC. Do you remember Apple and how at some point over time Apple computers have become more and more unaffordable? They become more and more expensive. And there are cheaper alternatives to your Apple phone, to your Apple tablet, to your Apple computer. They're cheaper alternatives. But Apple remains the gold standard for some of us for computing.
Yes.
We know it's not perfect. It's a walled garden. We know it's not perfect.
Yes.
But some of us are just so into that space. Bimbo, I've been a Mac now for 20 years. I feel like with Tesla, I feel like even though it's not like the Chinese will eat their lunch, okay, they're $30,000 EVs now with 300, 400 mile range. But sorry, 1 second. Where I'm going is this: I feel like Tesla is not done for the simple reason that Apple is not. Look, Apple saying now that Apple is more iterative than innovative.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not breaking new ground. Unlike when
iPhone, iPad, started,
when Steve Jobs was alive, they were innovative, and a lot of technology we use now. I mean, I remember when the first iPhone launched, and it changed. I had a Sony Ericsson P900 or something at that time. Okay, and that was state of the art. It had a tablet, it had everything, you know. And then the Apple phone came out, and I remember being skeptical about it. And then I moved to a BlackBerry with the keypad, with the physical keypad, because I didn't trust the on-screen, because the on-screen keypad on my Sony Ericsson phone wasn't great. And I remember my cousin, Koye, saying, look, he was an early adopter of the iPhone. He was like, look, this thing's perfect. I remember buying one, and then I had an iPhone, and then I still had a BlackBerry for work. And then BlackBerry launched their full keyless, what's it called now? The full tablet thing. I bought one, used it for one day. And I was like, I can't do this. It was just so far behind the Apple device.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? And Bimbo has always said something to me. Bimbo has always said that, look, when I remember arguing with Bimbo a couple of years ago.
A
couple of years ago, when I had this conversation about the big car makers, the traditional car makers, coming for Tesla. And I remember Red saying they can come, but this guy will keep innovating. And Red said at that time that the fear was more going to be the Chinese than the Germans. It was going to be the Chinese guys that were going to come, and they were going to come with most likely a cheaper product that wasn't necessarily better, but because it was more affordable, they'd get the numbers. And by getting the numbers, you now make the Tesla product more aspirational than anything else. And so I'm sticking to Ade's point now. Could that then be the future of Tesla? Could it just be that Tesla becomes the higher end? I mean, they're not electric Rolls Royces.
I think Ade has a point though, because right now,
I agree with Ade. I'm just
I don't think I'm buying another Tesla right now.
Wow.
Well, is that because of the technology, or because you don't like that throws nothing?
I don't like the guy. I don't think I share the value system. The problem with the competition is the advantage Tesla has over the Fords, the Benz, and everything is those guys cannot make a compelling enough electric car without cannibalizing their best cars. Because I mean, you have one. There's no way you're going to drive an S-Class electric that drives and gives you everything the ICE S-Class gives you that you ever want to go back to the engine. So they have to hold something back. That's why you see them, they're half-stepping on the range, they're half-stepping on the technology, because...
Yeah, that's why they're doing the hybrids. And
yes, even with their full electrics, they're locking... I'm sure it's software lock, because you have the same battery capacity with a Tesla, and it's giving you less range. But they don't come hard. You get the good seats, you get everything, but technology-wise, the self-driving, they hold back, and they still push the best things into their ICE cars. The day they decide, you know what, we're going full steam, like we are ready for this ICE to die, I think Tesla will be done. For the Chinese, on the world stage, Europe's reaction to Tesla is visceral, like really, really bad. Like they're not buying in Germany, they're not buying in Italy. Now, I don't know if the Chinese have been able to penetrate those markets. If they have, it's goodbye. We have blocked ourselves with tariffs. We've refused to learn. They did the same in the 90s until...
Sorry, by we, you mean Nigeria or America? Because
America. And
I'm the only person in Nigeria here now. I don't.
We're all Nigeria now.
Okay, we're all Nigerian.
No, but I'm the only person physically in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, well, so in the 90s, Americans were building these really ugly cars. They were telling them, like, you know, and they would put like Chevy Capri 6.7 liter engine come to a yacht and everything. The Japanese tried to come in. They did this whole tariff business and stuff. I think it was not Toyota. I think it was Toyota that first found a derelict factory in California somewhere and started building their cars. The Japanese cars, they were built in America. And over the next course of because you'll notice like the 92 Honda will have auto winder. The American specs car will still be manual winder. Maybe to have it, and they will be ugly. It will be like massive. The only thing they care about that time was 0 to 60, which is a uniquely American thing. If you go to Europe, nobody really cares about 0 to 60, 5.4 seconds and stuff. They're just like straight line performers. So I think if the Chinese find a way to either manufacture here, which would be a win for this guy, because that's what he's saying he wants, I think Tesla is dead. But so I don't know.
Let me jump in quickly because I have to hop off very soon.
Okay.
So first things first, allow me the Apple comparison. See, Apple can innovate as much as they want because the average phone is even going to cost $1,000. And I, as a consumer, I can afford to change my iPhone every year. If I want to, I can change my iPhone every single year. That's why they come with an iPhone every single year. And I take the old one in, I get the new one, I put the streaming plan on it, and I keep just changing and changing and changing. I can't do that with an EV because it's $40,000 or $34,000, however much you want to do it.
Depending on which one. The 75,000.
BMW now have it. They have a subscription model now where you can subscribe and change your car every so often.
You see, that's the thing.
You don't own the car.
The likelihood.
You subscribe.
Let me the likelihood that somebody will change their car every year is less than somebody will change their phone every year.
Absolutely.
That's number one.
Fair enough.
Number two, this is where I'm going with the whole thing. You see, as I'm talking about Elon, Tesla is not going to die. I'm not saying Tesla is going to die. I'm not even saying Tesla is going to wipe off the planet. What I'm saying is I can see a scenario where he starts diluting himself, his influence in Tesla or his overall control of Tesla to allow him focus on other things.
Absolutely.
So Tesla is sort of like the platform, the platform that has helped put him on the world map, the cash cow that has built him. And now he's, in my opinion, I could be completely wrong. I don't know if I'm kind of paint. He's looking at other things because the other players in the market, and these players can build something. You are right. Teslas are not built properly. The aerodynamics are crap. One because they don't assemble them in the same place. They don't even build they assemble them but don't build parts in the same place. So like your left side is built in China, your right side is built in Korea, or the window, the top is built in another part. They just slap them together, and then you have all these spaces that are not right. I agree. Cool. I'm telling you. So they're not the best, and they're not even the most sort of comfort wise and all these things. What they had before was the technology. What they had before was the first to market. They were the first to really go into it and put themselves on the market.
First mover advantage.
That first mover advantage is diminishing now. In my opinion, it's diminishing rapidly.
I think it's diminished.
It's rapidly diminishing. The Lucids, these guys are in there now. There's the Rivian. There's these BYD. There's Inos. Who is the one that did Niger one? There's the Niger one now. Inos. Yeah, shake your head. I'm telling you, shake your head all you want. There will come a time where those cars are in the Nigerian market. You will see. But I'll wrap up quickly.
BYDs and Co are here. They're here already.
Let me just wrap up quickly. At its peak, Tesla's peak, it owned 7.5% of the entire vehicle market share, not EV. 7.5% of the entire vehicle market share. That is a small amount compared to the larger scope. If it's costing them a lot of money, if it's costing him a lot of money to maintain or stay at that level when there are other people in the market, does it not make sense for me to pull that back now? I say, I've already made all the money I'm ever going to make. I'm the most money I'm going to make. I'm not going to make 4,000. How much were they selling? $40,000 when the first Model 3s came out. I think it was like $40,000 or so a car. I'm not going to make that anymore. It's now going to get less, but the cost to build those cars is only going to get more and more and more. So my profit margins is going to reduce. Is it not better for me to move into something else? Which is why I'm saying, and I'll finish on this point, I think the man is a full genius because he has figured out a way to transition out of that. And this backlash people are talking about, fine, I can sell all my shares and move into SpaceX. Nobody cares about SpaceX now. I'm saying nobody cares about SpaceX now because there is still this NASA sort of like umbrella. There is still this issue, and it doesn't directly affect me as a person. When that starts happening, then people start going after him for that one. So, gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. Unfortunately, I have to run now. So, let me know. You're going to edit this part out, correct?
No, we're going to leave it inside.
So, all right, people.
Thanks for joining us.
All right, people.
All right, nice to meet you, man. All right, later.
Have a good one.
Gracias, hermano. I was going to say that Elon has actually moved on. So they announced the merger between XAI and X, right? Grok AI and X.
Yeah, Grok.
I think I said that to you, Bimbo, that I think that's Elon's next play. And I think he believes that that's the future, that AI is, and look, AI is the future. But I believe he believes that so firmly that, and when he's combined, he has an advantage. Combining Twitter, X with Grok AI gives, for example, I've been on Twitter for over a decade. Okay. He's able to model my evolution. And I'm not a very active Twitter user. But there are guys who tweet 10 times a day who have done so.
There's training data.
There's a lot of training data. So I now use, I use Grok AI, I use ChatGPT, I use DeepSeek, I use Gemini, and I compare results. I sent Yemi something this morning. I was like, Yemi, I did some research. All right. And I used Grok, I used all like 4 AI platforms. I got the same results. It was unanimous, right? But in the level of detail and the level of analysis that I got, Grok led. Okay? Even when it said, oh, do it this way, it had the same answer as everybody else. But the answer was more detailed. Even in the conclusion, the pros, the cons, everything was just better. And I don't think it's because the guys at Grok have bigger brains. I think it's just that they have a lot more, not just volume, but diversity of training data. I don't think the world yet understands how they're going to monetize this AI. All right. It's one of those things where you start it and then as you figure it out as you go along. I don't believe that when Elon bought Twitter, it was because of AI. I don't believe so. I believe he bought it because he wanted to silence it, but he wanted a voice to achieve a particular reason. And then now he owns it. And people kept asking, what do you want to do with this thing? And I figured now he owns it. And now he suddenly realizes, you know what? I can do something else, which is what smart people do, right? I can do something else with this product. And I think he's seen something. That decision to merge them. And you know, he has this issue with OpenAI and ChatGPT. And he sued them. And I thought he just figured, you know what? I can beat you guys at this game now. And he's had enough time to learn what they know and see how they've built their training. I thought, you know what? And it's not necessarily Elon. It's just some guy in his think tank that goes, you know what, boss, how about we do this? And once you have the means and the opportunity, that's really what you need, isn't it? Opportunity and means to achieve whatever you need to achieve. He's the wealthiest man on this planet. He has the means. He owns the platform. Okay, I can do this. I suspect that if he didn't own Twitter on that day, he would have bought Twitter. If somebody had said to him, I think that if we merge Grok with Twitter or with any of these platforms, whether it was Facebook or whatever it is, that we can actually create a better AI product. These open AI guys that are annoying you, I think we can figure out a way to beat them at their own game. I think he would have bought it on that day. He would have gone ahead and bought it and broken the bank for it. But he already owned it. Okay. And I think that that's what his next play is. I think Elon has already figured out how, maybe not the full picture yet. Like when he launched the Tesla Roadster, I don't think he had the full picture where they were going. But they had an idea of where we would like to get to. Okay? We have a vision. He's a visionary. Where I'd like to get to is here. How I'm going to get there, I don't know. And I might get there and realize I could go even further or go in a different direction when I get there. So I feel like this is what's happened with Grok, and that this is Elon's next play. SpaceX is there, but there are headwinds. Don't forget, there was also the Boring Company. Do you remember the Boring Company?
Yeah, it's still trying.
Is this still
it's still there? Yeah,
it's still trying to do it in Texas. Yeah.
Oh, it's still at it. But my point is that we've now gotten to a point where, like Ade keeps saying, perhaps Tesla's run its course. The market dominance is done. Okay, what's the next thing? I think part of what has made Elon is being ahead of the curve. He's not necessarily the best innovator, but he's been, so with PayPal, okay, PayPal innovated or revolutionized e-commerce.
Payment, yeah.
Okay,
e-commerce without banks.
E-commerce generally. All right. So he's at the forefront of this movement. He didn't start it, but he's able to, like you said, see the opportunities, monetize them, and get out. Get out. Teflon done. Get out. Okay. Then he was in the EV space. Look, trailblazer. And like, if Ade is correct, I'm getting out of it. I'm getting out. The next thing is AI. I'm on the front door. I was there with OpenAI, and we didn't seem to gel. So I was going to start. I
it wasn't the same. He tried to do the same thing, right? And they refused to give him the C title.
Yeah. So it's like, well, that's my point. That okay, it didn't gel for whatever reason. I will go and do my own. I'm going to shut up now. But I think that what we're seeing is his next play. And watch this space. I think he might not be the market leader for very long.
Oh, he's not.
But he'll be there long enough to. He'll be there long enough to change the world.
So,
and the next thing will happen. Yeah.
Let me comment a little bit, in the conversation. So, Elon Musk, as we've said, depends on what part of the divide you sit on. It could be an evil genius. It could be a genius, period. He's a trailblazer. He's done many businesses, SpaceX, Tesla X, etc. I see him as somebody who's constantly trying to play 4D chess, not even 3D chess. Like, he's literally always trying to be one step ahead. I see the move to buy X in line with previous billionaires. At some point, you're a billionaire and you don't have power. If you can't get political power through office, the next power you can get is the media. And that's why there are lots of billionaires, without mentioning names, that have had affiliations with either a major newspaper, a major radio station, because they want to frame the narrative of how people think, right? And how do you do that without having media? And then obviously, I think that also gave him a bargaining chip when it came to getting close to Trump. Like, okay, what can I do for you? I already have this space. Okay, Tesla probably won't do much for Trump, but Twitter could. So I saw that link between him buying it and then. But in terms of, it's difficult to kind of like predict his next move. But like you said, allow me and Red, looking at Grok as a big time rival to OpenAI, with the chatbot that Grok already has, which is integrated into X. Like Laomi said earlier, that's already a master stroke, because it's already integrated the same way we have like WhatsApp and Instagram, and you see that link with Facebook. They're all sort of like that ecosystem going. But I see him kind of like going fully into the AI space, like you said. Some kind of like X will now have unfiltered information. Anybody can go there and say whatever they want to say. Maybe replace Google for some users. Have that one-stop shop where you don't have to go to different platforms to do things. So you can go to X. You can actually look for stuff there. It can help you write emails, and at the same time you're responding to somebody saying something in Australia, and at the same time probably adding some other products just to make sure that you are on X. So I see it as trying to transform X into some kind of like super app. So think China's WeChat, but with a westernized lens. So it'll be interesting to see.
He has actually mentioned that about.
Has he? Okay.
Yes, in the past, I wants it to be a payment system and everything.
Exactly. I was just going to say that digital wallets,
what,
video streaming, podcasting. Yeah. I mean, X already has that with similar to what Clubhouse has, where you can, Twitter Spaces, where I don't know how successful it is, but where people go and just speak, and it's audio based. So you can see where the direction is going from X. I don't know. I don't know what's next for him from a political lens. Like you said, Red, you'll probably have to choose one, but I think he's going to have some kind of impact on US policies when it comes to things like artificial intelligence, which is AI, and probably something to do with free speech regulation. But it'll be interesting to see if he can turn round his public image. I don't see that happening anytime soon, if I'm honest. And I agree with all of you so far. It's going to be difficult. It's not impossible, but it's going to be difficult.
Very.
Does he care? But does he really care?
I think he does.
No, but he's publicly said he cares. That's the point.
I think he cares. He's
publicly said it.
So he writes on crowd feedback. You can see it on Twitter.
You can see him when he's on Saturday Night Live or any of the other shows. You can see he likes it. He's
not like
he likes the adulation. He likes the adulation.
Yeah, he likes attention.
He likes adulation.
He likes attention. Yeah.
I think a lot of the things he does, even his involvement with Trump's campaign and everything, he could have taken a back seat. And I know there are a few billionaires who took a backseat, but Elon Musk is not a shrinking violet. He's not the guy in the back. And I think he got so carried away with that Nazi salute. All right, he got so carried away with his excitement.
It was excited. He was excited. It was. You said we can't curse, right? So it was a nephew.
What was that?
Look, that was from the abundance of his heart. I think Elon harbors some. I think he harbors some supremacist tendencies. I think he harbors some because
you're not the only person that said that. You're not the only person.
He's been. I mean, this narrative that in South Africa they're killing farmers, they're doing all that, and in the moves he's made, the things he's said, the things he's done. I think you saw Elon. The part of him that doesn't really have, he's not much of an empath, I think. And I think he just sees the world in ones and zeros. And I think he just doesn't, I don't think he really understood
very binary
the impact of that the Nazi salute. And I think he kept wondering, why are you guys so upset about it?
No, he's not wondering. He knows. But his dalliances with the right-wing party in Germany, Italy, UK. So he knows what he's doing.
Too many countries,
yeah.
Farage and yeah.
There's a conspiracy that goes back to his granddad, which who was an American, then ended up in Canada.
South Africa.
No, was in Canada.
In Canada. Oh yeah, Canada.
Then he was arrested for trying to overthrow the government. And said that the West was not for him, and he ended up in South Africa because that was where he felt aligned with his values.
Yeah, that's why I accepted him. I accepted his values. Yeah.
Well, they were not technocrats, but they were people that believed in technologists running the world.
And his father was, his family was quite well off as well. They were quite well off.
Yes, all that stuff he was being driven to school in a Rolls Royce.